So Jimbo Fisher has weighed in on college football realignment and said that it's all about the money. People are only doing it for the money. Shocking. Jimbo Fisher said that.
How much is he making?
More than God.
Yes, he is. This is crazy. It really is. I wonder how people feel about this, too, guys, because maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe you just want a made-for-television conference, and it'll give you all the big games, and strip all of the sis boom ba out of it. Don't care anymore. Just give me semi-professional football that has no tradition, no honor, no anything. It's just mercenary football players pretending to go to college so we can all make a bunch of money because we love our Saturdays. And the transaction is that brazen, that greedy. It's just, ha, ha, ha. Remember when you thought that it was about cheerleaders and marching bands? No. It's about what can we put on television for how much money? All the mercenary coaches are going to fight each other for the money. All the players are going to want money. And it's going to be professional football on Saturdays that's less good than Sundays, but it loses all of the stuff. The pageantry is gone, Stugotz.
Well, there's still Ohio State and Michigan. There's still some of those games, Dan.
Okay, but what are we doing? It's not that anymore. It's just.
Yeah, but you know what it is? It's entertaining. It fills my Saturdays. It's something I can gamble on. I don't really care about conference realignment. I know many people do. I'm just not one of them. I care about the 4 teams or the 6 teams, the 8 teams, whatever it's going to be, that are standing at the end of the year.
Saturday football by semi-professionals.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know you're right, Dan. I think all the pageantry that you're talking about, I don't know that it goes anywhere. I think it's as authentic as it was before. It's still going to be just as authentic. The colors of the jerseys aren't going to change. The names of the schools aren't going to change. And I think that's what people get tied up in. They could care less about who are in the jerseys as much as they care about the colors of the jerseys and what they represent to them. So, yeah, I do think some of the rivalries will be lost because of the realignment, but you'll get new rivalries. And if your team is good, you'll love college football. If your team stinks, you're going to hate college football. It's how it's always been.
I think the rivalries is the biggest loss for college football because Oregon State is one of the most fun rivalries in the sport, and we are going to lose out on that. And you're going to start to see this happen, though, because everything is so money-based that the ACC is probably going to end up falling apart. And rivalries we know there, Florida State, Miami, Florida State, Clemson, those aren't going to be the same anymore. It's all like taking away from the student athletes, specifically the non-football player student athletes are going to get hurt by this the most. And then the fans are losing, the games they love, the ability to travel to close games. It's really, really bad for all of college athletics.
I don't know what I'm going to do without Oregon State.
The Civil War.
But you're
so proud of you.
You are the breaking point, Chris Cody. All you want is Saturday games to watch, to gamble on.
Give me game day. That's all I need.
But you also have no earthly idea and have known it at no point in your life what it's like to actually care about a rivalry that feels like that on the football field that week. The fans, it feels regional. It feels like your high school school spirit just exploded in a mushroom cloud of this comes from a different time. You're from Miami. You have no experience with what this actually is, but it's what's been sold. And maybe it doesn't matter that it's been sold because we can pretend it's still amateurism. We'll fool ourselves into anything. But what college sports will be now on Saturday is more brazen capitalism than it's ever been. It's made for television programming that is not about education, scholarships. It's all about, can my team buy better players than Alabama?
But Miami and Florida State hasn't been a thing for a while now, in large part because those teams and those programs aren't any good. So that game hasn't really mattered, and I'm still fine with college football.
But it still matters to the fans. Even when Iowa's bad, I hope they kick the shit out of Wisconsin, We don't, but I hope. Mm-hmm. It's not about, people will show up for college games. Nebraska sells out every game, and they have not been good in years. It's about the tradition and the rivalry and the experience, and that's going to be diminished when Nebraska's having to travel to Seattle, once a year.
That's crazy. She loves college football.
I know.
You don't.
I know.
But I'm saying that's where the disconnect is.
But she really loves college football.
Yeah, but I think there are lots of people like her in different parts of the country, and we aren't like that. So I think I'm probably guilty of this also, where it's always been professional. And that's why at the start of the segment, I feel like I might feel a little different than I did at the beginning of the segment, where I was thinking like it's not really going to change anything. But for the people who live and die by it, and when Lucy made the point about traveling to the games, and like I do remember even in Maryland, there were some fans who really liked to just drive down to when we would go kick Virginia's ass or drive down to Clemson or Georgia Tech. It's a whole lot different when you got to go to Ohio State or Michigan, and that changes. So I imagine for people in the South and in the Midwest that don't have professional teams, they are going to lose some of this.
Is Corso still doing headgear?
Right.
That's all you care about?
That's all I care about.
Is Hawaii still playing at
He's gotta
midnight?
take a break. Oh, they will be.
Is McAfee doing headgear now? How's this working?
Domonique, I wanted to ask you about this because you care about the Maryland program, and one of the things that quietly happened, because the monetization of this has been really fascinating to watch, that Tua's kid brother, who seemed exceptional to me last year, surrounded by a whole lot of people on his team who weren't that exceptional, that the SEC reportedly, SEC teams were coming after him with Kyle Trask money, pro money, like Desmond Ridder money that guys who are in the league, Malik Willis money, that Tua's kid brother is an economy that could have gone to the SEC for a price and decided to stay at Maryland for whatever it is his reasons are, whether it's loyalty or anything else. But, Domonique, you don't think that those transactions are going to be something that cheapens the sport? The idea that the SEC team can just come in and just buy your quarterback from a lesser team?
Well, they didn't buy him because we bought him back, I think is what actually happened. And to be fair, we got lots of other great players, too. It's just the O-line, D-line situation. It's tough in Maryland to get power up there. But anyway, aside from all that stuff, yeah, it doesn't change it for me. And that's the point I was making, that I think I might be wrong, because it's different. For like hearing Lucy talk about it reminds me that I do know people like this. It's just not who I am. And so I have the illusion of college football being all this pageantry stuff that you're talking about, Dan. I lost that my freshman year. I was redshirting the whole year. They burned my red shirt because we had a chance to win the conference for the last 2 games. Burned my red shirt. We won those games, and we won the ACC tournament. We went to the Orange Bowl, and we got DVD players. We came back. All the coaches had new cars, and the head coach got a $10 million extension, and we got a bag of sweatshirts. And that's when I was like, all right, this is not sis boom ba, whatever, all that BS that Dan was talking about. That's when it died for me. So like seeing all this stuff happen now, it's like, yeah, I don't care the same way. And I think that when you are inside the machine, it looks different. And I think you're probably right. For people like Lucy and other fans who are outside of it,
it's the whole illusion,
they see
Dom.
something else.
Dom, the business of it that hits you with a gift bag on your first day is not what fans think they're buying. It's not what they're celebrating on Saturdays. That's not to see the injustice create a total Wild West of brazen selfishness where literally nothing matters but dollars can be unsurprising to you because you've been in the belly of the beast. But God almighty, there's supposed to be a difference between college football and pro football that isn't just our minor leagues and that's it. Like, it's supposed to mean something more than that, is it not?
There's a difference. You can only play for 4 seasons.
What brand?
The sweatshirts?
No, the DVD players.
I don't know.
2001.
Do you still have it? You still have the DVD player? The one that you got for tearing up your body on behalf of school spirit?
Hell no, I don't have a DVD player. Or I still have the ring that is replete with fake diamonds.
The thing that hurts when he just says, my redshirt season, they burned it. Think about what he's saying there. He sat, 9 games?
Yep, we sat 8 games, and we were leading the ACC. We went down to Florida State, and was it Walker? Javon Walker went off on the corner that we had there, and we lost by 1 touchdown, I think. And the following week, that corner was injured, and we needed to.
So they
burn
needed
my
you for
red
2
shirt.
games?
Yep.
Did you want to play in those 2 games?
Of course, because I'm brainwashed by football. It's like it was such a joy to be like, all right, now I can be a part of this. Now, yes, I would love to sacrifice for my guys. Let me go out there and do that. And we won, and it was fine. Then we went down to the Orange Bowl and University of Florida, beat the dogs out of us. They should have been in the Natty. I don't know why they was messing with Maryland in the Orange Bowl.
It is
But
funny.
you were robbed of 10 games.
He was not only robbed of 10 games in a portion of his youth, he learned an early lesson on how disposable he is and then became someone who worked in finance at the leagues because it's like, man, this is from early, the way they use up our bodies and don't give us anything but a DVD player. I should fight for more purposeful things because I thought that the height of sports was me getting to the top of this, and they don't care about me at all.
It's a fun experience to watch it happen to quarterbacks because it happens to all of us at some point where you realize they don't really care about you. You're expendable. But the quarterbacks, they don't believe it happens to them until eventually it does. Andrew Luck's available. Sorry, Peyton, we're good on you. Your shoulder goes out, Drew Brees. Guess you better leave. Drew Brees was one of the more active quarterbacks in the union because he learned early on that you are just one of us. Sorry, Tom Brady. Win us 6 Super Bowls. You got to go too. We don't want you here either. So it's a long process. Corners learn early. D linemen learn early. Quarterbacks slow to learn that they don't really give a about you.
It's fascinating because they did treat with kid gloves a little bit at the end of the season because quarterbacks do get treated differently. At the end of last season, Derek Carr and Mariota lost their jobs, and the teams were like, you could just leave. You don't have to work anymore. Just take the last 3 weeks off. Or they were like, I'm not coming back to work. You've taken my job, and that's it. Like, very quietly, they just got run off the mill. They're going to have to end up somewhere else, no matter what they gave to their teams. But it seems like at the end, they were allowed a different set of rules where they were allowed to collect their paycheck. They weren't released. They were just leaving.
Being a quarterback's pretty nice. Yeah. Seems pretty awesome. People get in trouble if they touch you in practice. Mm-hmm. They get in more trouble if they tackle you in the games. It's a little stressful, though, but it seems like good life.
They're the only stars, though. They're the only guys in the commercials. They're the only ones in that sport where everyone is disposable. I feel like that's almost by design. They changed the rules to protect Tom Brady because we got like 12 guys who have actual value.
There's nothing funnier to me than when you're watching the promos to the Thursday night football game and they're not quarterbacks that are any good and they like, watch T.J. Watt. T.J. Watt.
Try to tackle Derrick Henry.
They put up the 2 players when they're promoting next week's game, and it's like, we got a real serious outside backer, guys.
And it's going to come back, and we're all going to eat it up, and we're going to forget all about it. Hamlin. Yeah, so he almost died. Never mind about all that.
So they can't play him, right?
He wants to play.
They can't cut him.
They got it. They got to give my man a job. Like, he got to work for the team. That's the move, right? You work for the team, give him a good salary. You can't put that man back out on the field.
Are you not familiar with the sport? Are you not familiar with it?
They don't want to be embarrassed.
There were so many things today, Stugotz, that I wanted to get to that we didn't get to. Just people in Toronto standing around watching LeBron eat. Giancarlo Stanton jogging ever so gingerly from second to home as the last place Yankees flail, and I'm guessing something's wrong with his body. I'm guessing that it's not that he doesn't care. But when you make that much money, New York is in last place. They're going to think that's a funny symbol for not caring.
And you're batting .216.
Yes, and you're also, right, not that good. I also, in baseball, wanted to talk just in general, but we're not going to be able to get to this either, about do you think that when Joe Kelly this weekend, he's throwing against Tatis, he's throwing 101 miles an hour. He backs Tatis off twice and then catches him looking with another 100-mile-an-hour pitch. And as he turns away from Tatis, he yells, bleeping bitch. And I'm just wondering if you thought that happened in the 1950s. Like, when did that become a thing? But we don't have time for that either. You know why?
Thankfully. I had an answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
You know what? Let's stay there. I'll answer that.
Well, I have more for you guys. There's more that I wanted to get to that I'm not going to be able to get to. A Bears offensive lineman named Darnell Wright is in unbelievable shape because he accidentally did the wide receivers regiment during the offseason.
Wow.
And so he got to camp. Like, how does that guy not have questions about
Whoops.
why are they running me through wide receiver drills when I'm 330 pounds?
But it worked. I mean.
Yes, he came in great shape.
Why am I running sideline routes?
But I can't get to any of it because I simply want to descend like vultures upon Chris Cody.
All right, it wasn't my best work last second.
for pissing off Johnny Manziel.
Was I pissing him off, or was I just asking the tough questions?
You were pissing him off.
You fed me one of those tough questions, and I fed it right back to you.
Yeah, you're big on that lately. That's good. You do that one. That's good for you. That's good through your
He
voice.
thinks in his 50s the way he gets to age is just by farming it all out, outsourcing all of it.
He gave it to me. I didn't particularly like it, so I gave it back to him. I mean, it's up to him
Why'd
whether
you
or
tell
not
me
he
it was a
opens.
great question then?
Well, because I was trying to arrive at where we've
Because
arrived
that's a
at
great
right
question.
now.
You do that. That's great.
Yes.
Some masterminds.
He'll even like give me the hand signal after he says it to like hammer home the point of like one of these, like the okay symbol. Like, it's good. I'm telling you, good question.
The good stuff. Yeah, the good
Yes.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay, Lucy, I want that something the video team failed to produce for me today. Again, I will say, in a very rough week last week, it was my favorite moment from last week.
I am selfish and greedy, Dan. You know that, okay? If it's the good stuff, I'm taking it for me, Chris. Just
No,
so you know.
no misunderstanding there. That's right. If he gives you the double, if he gives you 2 okays, you go ahead and take that. It's because of. If it were good, he'd steal it from you. He wouldn't ask.
I was demanding that you take it.
Please, you take it. You do the work. Me, I've got thousands and tens of thousands of dollars spilling into my Venmo that I can't access.
Had he really asked a teammate to pee for him, it would have been a great question.
Yes.
Yes.
But he got pissed off about that. All the other questions, totally fine. But you will not desecrate Aggie football by saying that they
I
use
feel like
fake
it really,
urine there.
It woke up the interview, I think.
You could say that. But, Lucy, I want to know 2 things from you. I wanted to get to what it is you had to say about conference realignment today because you had opinions there all over the place and we didn't get time for them. So please, give me what you got there.
Well, I guess it's bad. That's probably the first one and the biggest one. I think we're going to watch a lot of sport. Like, I think the biggest victim here are these small sports that really matter. Specifically, let's look at Stanford. They are far and away the best athletic program in the country. They are an Olympic feeder school, except for football, and no one wants them. Yeah. We are going to watch these small sports, which are very valuable, completely like cease to exist. And if the Pac-12 merges with the Mountain West, they're going to lose a lot of budget. They're going to lose these sports. These athletes they're going to have to go through hell and back to travel this way. It is really, really bad for the everyday
Because
student
football's the only real
It's all that
moneymaker,
matters.
and it's been carrying everybody. And
Yep.
all of these athletes are going to be debris.
Yeah, football charters planes. Field hockey doesn't, you know?
Football should be in the Olympics.
It's going to be awkward.
be.
It's going to be like awkward on
No,
these
it shouldn't.
campuses,
People would
though.
die.
It's essentially sports are going to be dying just because you want to exist football.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's not these schools' faults. Like, a little bit it is, but it's pretty much all Fox and ESPN here. Like, they are running the show, and these small sports, they want to compete, they want to be on TV, but, like, that's just not going to happen. And if football's making money, like, who cares about everybody else?
I mean, I think
Which is sad.
we often we analyze the situation for the situation that it is and not all the other factors that contribute to it. So, like, I understand what you're saying, Lucy, but, like, football should be separated. Like, let's stop pretending that it's not something different from college athletics. I think if you separate football out from it and they have their own football conferences, they do their own football things, they have their own football deals, they have their own football money, then that could be the football thing. And then Stanford can still have their athletics in their previous conferences. Like, that's the problem, is that football is driving the ship and all these other passengers have to go wherever football tells them to go, even though it's not the best destination.
Football's like turning into the lottery. It's like, we have so much money here, we're going to do some good with it. We're going to like fund these other sports. Isn't that what like the lottery pays for a lot of
It's
schooling?
what it's been for a long ass time.
It's just like we have way too much of this and we feel uncomfortable. So here, lacrosse, you can exist.
But let's not give it to the players, though.
No, absolutely not. Oh, whoa, let's not go that far. But I actually 100% agree with what you're saying. Football should be its own separate thing because that is where all the money comes from. You don't need softball players who are playing, 3-4 games a weekend to fly from Oregon to Maryland to do that and then have to be back at class the next day. Like, that's insane. So I 100% think football should be separated, but that's just probably not going to happen.
The thing that I wanted to close the show with today, though, I wanted to find out how it is that we can actually start an internet petition for Stugotz to be able to get whatever job he wants at WFAN, to have his dreams come true so that he can get the offer and then turn it down or take it if it is a good offer. But I want the Army to get behind him because my most joyous moment last week was seeing the shock on Lucy's face.
I was shocked. I was
Well,
overwhelmed.
I don't want to speak for you though. Just
Sorry, Lucy.
But tell me, what was it? The greed?
I don't know who you thought I was.
What was it? Tell me what. We don't have the video of it, but Charlotte and Lucy, their face was total shock of my teammate is for real. That's a real thing.
I think it was just, with everything going on, it was just wild timing to go on another radio show and be like, give me a job. I'll take this job. I would like to work here. And in a weird way, I respected it.
Thank
because
you.
it was so out in the open
Right.
that I was like, I feel like you have to give him the job if he's willing to, like, not lose this one, but be like, I'll leave. Like, that's crazy.
They have till Friday. I will not accept an offer on Saturday, Sunday, or next Monday. They have till Friday. That's what I told them.
But what do you
Listen,
want?
I was just
though?
being me.
You want
I mean,
Boomer's job, or what is it that you want?
I don't know. Leverage. I mean,
Okay, that's not a person who works there, though. Then I don't think
it's a person who has leverage. I mean,
But who
aren't we all seeking leverage?
But
I
what do
mean,
you want to tell them? You want to? What is the petition? Don't.
Oh,
can
I
you
made
please now outsource
Right.
your army? Here's your job to petition for. Go ahead and you do it. Petition for the job.
Well, I did it on WFAN. The point that I was trying to make was I grew up and got into this industry because of that radio station, and in particular, Mike and Chris. And as I grew and evolved, it became frustrating to me that WFAN would never take me that seriously, even though you and I had tremendous career success. And it led me to believe they attributed my success to you and not to me. And so I was just trying to point out, hey, I'm from Long Island. I love this station. I know the history of the station. I know how to do everyone's job, okay? I come with some sales. I come with some money, and I'm pretty good at this. I'm entertaining. You can laugh with me. You can laugh at me, and I don't really care because I'm 51. And whether or not this works out, I still have a plum job with Le Batard back in Miami. How about that? That's all I was trying to get across, and I feel like I did. It worked.
Great pitch. I would
thank
hire you.
Yeah.
What's the best party you ever been to?
Oh, wow. Probably Versace Mansion, I feel like, right? Right? Where we wasted, I don't know, $2.5 million on 3 nights.
Chris? How did you feel? How did you feel in general? Because you kept a stoic face during Manziel, but it looked like you were falling apart on the inside.
Well, I had one of the video guys in my ear being like, that was a good question. That was a good question. So I was being buoyed by, you know what? That was a good question. I kind of got the juices flowing in this interview. He's pushing back. I got him to interrupt me. I was still in the middle of my question. He's like, whoa, well, that actually didn't happen.
The video guy just said calling me one of the video guys is disrespectful. He said that in my ear just now as you were saying that.
You called him the video guy when you said that.
I was just passing along the message to Chris, okay? His name is Lewis. Respect him, please. I mean,
Did he just tell you his name in your ear?
he did.